Okay, so I'm not gonna say this is a guide, and it's definitely not, so just be wary. So I'm just gonna be doing a replacement on my battery. I'm literally watching a YouTube video as I speak for it. It'll be linked in the description. So I managed to get the back off. It's pretty easy. There's nothing you have to be too aware of besides on the top right. Just to be careful here not to nick this when you're going around with your little blue spatula. It comes up quite easily with the spatula, and yeah, so I got it open now, and I'll go ahead and do the replacement. Also, here's the battery. It looks pretty similar to mine at the moment. If you guys can see that there, it's pretty bloated, and earlier I saw some white build-up here. I can't remember what it's called, the crystallization, so that's not very good. So definitely need to get this replaced. It's starting to blow. I can actually feel it. So disconnected the touch sensor from over here, so that's good to see. So I think disconnect the battery right here and the little speaker probably for down here as well. So do that now. Okay. Battery is disconnected and the little speaker as well. So the next part is taking off this top part here. All of these screws need to be taken out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or so. When you are taking the shield off the Nova 3i, as I have done so on screen, there are some little hooks and different places to take the shield off, so just keep that in mind while you're doing the repair as well. Don't just try to rip it off, you'll actually have to unhook it in some places and move it around gently. The Huawei Nova 3i is pretty simple to take apart, so the main thing is you want to get that shield off the motherboard, off the top of the phone there. It's about 6-7 screws I believe, and you just need to move the shield around as I said before. So once you've got that off, you want to make sure that all the cables are disconnected, and hopefully you had the battery one disconnected in the first place. So all of the screen ones and the other ones for the speakers should be disconnected. From there, you basically want to try to get the battery out. So it is a bit difficult, and you can see me doing it on screen. Just try to be safe whilst doing this because you don't want to pierce the battery. So it's very important to keep in mind that there is very strong glue behind the battery, and you will need like a scraper tool such as a metal one that you get in these little packs usually. Unfortunately, I didn't have one, so I was just using a plastic card, and you know, like, you really shouldn't really be doing it like this, but it did take a little bit of force and I did get it out eventually. I got the battery out. I'm kind of freaking myself out right now, but yeah, I think it's compromised. You guys can see it at the back. It definitely inflated like a lot. Oops, no. Okay, alright. I'm going to be disposing of this ASAP. That's pretty much a fire hazard right here. I'll be right back with you guys. Putting the phone is relatively easy to put back together as it was to take it apart, so With the battery gone and disposed of properly, make sure you go and give it to a battery recycler. Don't just chuck it in your bin, that's literally a fire hazard. To get the new battery in, it's probably unlikely that the new battery you got has double-sided tape, so make sure you buy some double-sided tape. That's what I did, and I just put 2 pieces of it down in the phone and just peeled it off and placed the battery nicely down in the correct orientation so that the cable can be right up to where it needs to be plugged in. So it's really easy to set down, and then the battery's all goods in there. Just make sure it's sitting flat and your battery you're putting in is not bloated or anything like that. From there, I just plugged in what I needed to, such as the screen, and make sure all the cables were correctly in the right places. So make sure you don't place the orange cable below the battery, otherwise you'll have a bit of a problem. But yeah, make sure they're all in the correct places. So I plugged the screen back in and a few other cables. From there, I put the shield back in on top of the motherboard. So this was actually a little bit difficult, to be honest. You need to put it in a certain way before putting the screws in. So you'll need to slot the hooks back into their correct spaces. I didn't exactly show it the best on screen, but you'll need to like push it underneath a few of the objects as it goes in. So for example, there is a hook on the actual shield, and that needs to be placed below another piece of metal to actually slot the whole shield back into place. So if that's not placed properly, your shield won't sit properly over your motherboard, and you probably will run into issues. I'm not exactly sure, or you'll run into issues closing the phone up. But you need to do that before you put your screws in. Once all of that's in properly, your screw holes will be aligned properly. It's kind of like putting a motherboard into an IO shield of a PC case. It's kind of a similar deal. So once you've done that and all the cables are plugged in correctly, you can put your screws back in, and then you can plug the battery back in and a few other cables. Now for myself, I actually wanted to do a replacement on the back glass. So I did take out the fingerprint sensor. So the fingerprint sensor has a little bit of a delicate cable, if you guys can see that on screen. So you will need to pull it out gently and very slowly. Once you've pulled it out, you can actually, I just found a little bit of force pushing back on the fingerprint sensor was easy enough to just push it out. And I just pushed it out. It was super simple. And once that was pushed out, I got my new covered back. It's a blue one instead, and it already has the lens installed, so I don't need to move the lens around. And I also took a piece of foam that was on the original glass plate, and I put that on the new one. So I put them in the correct position. I put the fingerprint sensor there with its cable, and I got a little bit of electrical tape, black electrical tape, and I just made a little bit of a cutout for the fingerprint sensor to sit behind. So the reason I did that is for a little bit of support when the fingerprint sensor is being touched, so you don't like press it in by accident. And in any case, it should hold the cable in a little bit better. From there, I plugged in the fingerprint sensor cable back into the motherboard, and then I attempted to seal the phone back up. So this did go alright. It was just a major problem was that it didn't have enough stickiness to push down on the phone. So I'd say about maybe 3/4 of the phone was sealed quite nicely. Now, given I'm not going to be using this phone, I just needed to have it just in case I need to grab some data in the future. But yeah, I repaired it nicely and it went like 3/4, and then I managed to get it about, I'd say like 95% stuck down on the back. And I did something really stupid. I pressed down in one corner where it wasn't going down really hard with my fingers, and I managed to shatter a little bit of it very close to the camera lens. Lucky the lens is okay, but yeah, I did crack the back, which is kind of not the point of repairing a phone, but at least I got the battery fixed. And yeah, I turned the phone back on from there, and yeah, it was all good to go. I managed to replace the battery and the back, put the old fingerprint sensor in the new case of the back as well. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it all turned out and how I managed to actually fix one of my phones. I haven't done a phone repair in years, and I'm usually not too confident in doing it, but a Huawei Nova 3i is really easy to repair for some reason, and yeah, I didn't have any problems with losing data or anything like that. And the battery, I can say for sure on the phone now, is a lot better than what it used to be, considering that it's not a bloated battery, and I don't have as much heating issues as I did before. And well, the back is on pretty much almost completely now. Yeah, so overall, it was definitely a successful repair of the phone, and yeah, I managed to get the new battery in there. So this is kind of like a new series I'll be putting out like every Friday or so. So whenever I have some DIY project or anything like that, I'll try put them out on a Friday, and the unboxings and reviews will try to be out on a Wednesday, as usual. So yeah, that about sums up the video. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you go and check out ystech.org for the latest post reviews and much more. I'll see you guys there at ystech.org. But other than that, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.